If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Mitch Raposo back on the show. He returns to action on January 25th at Cage Titans 47. It's great to have one of not only New England's top prospects, but a guy who's getting a lot more attention from a national standpoint as well. Mitch, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I just found out moments ago that you're not fighting Alexander Castillos anymore. I know that was your original opponent. So that's just the power of live to tape interviewing here. That's what happens here. So let everybody know it's out there now, but who are you fighting now?
Cleveland McLean. He's 11-8 out of Florida. Very tough, experienced veteran. And to step up as far as experience goes, but I think it's a good fight for me. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking for that step up. The last fight kind of was a step up for me. Now I'm taking another step, ready to prove that I belong in the UFC.
So how do we get here? I know you had one original opponent that was announced. So how do we get to Cleveland here?
I had Castillos, and he pulled out about 4 days ago. I guess something about his ankle or something like that. I don't know. Then they were like, "Oh, we got a teammate that'll fight you." And I'm like, "All right, perfect. Let's do it." Kid was 6-0 AMI. Like, he was about to make his pro debut, and I was like, "Dude, let's do it." He was like, "Oh, I'll fight you at 130." And I'm a little heavy right now. I'm like, right now, I think at the time I was like 152. So I'm like, "All right, whatever. I'll do it. Let's do it." And Tyson tried getting 35. They complained. We said, "All right, let's do 30." Then they magically, we'll do it next card. So I'm like, all right, do whatever. So we're scrambling for fights, and you know what I mean? I think then Mike was looking for side. We had some options. I think McClain is the best option. I think he's a tough fight. Like, he's experienced, but he's not really, doesn't stand out anywhere. He's just a veteran. You know what I mean? He's a tough veteran. It's a necessary test for me to go out there and pass this and to show that I belong in the UFC and I'm ready for the UFC.
It seems like every fight you have, there's some sort of test or, question asked of you. And I feel like the last fight, everyone said that was your litmus test with Zach Burhans, and you took him out quickly. You got it done in the first round, and you've had some big wins before. You've been very dominant throughout your career, but for some reason, and we discussed this the last time you were on, people still had questions about you. Is Mitch the real deal? Is he really as good as people say he is? And then you go out there and you did what you did in November. Do you feel like, at least to this point, you've officially answered those critics with the performance you had in November?
So, kind of, but not really, because if we're thinking about it, I'm in this sport to be a world champion. I'm going to be a world champion, so that's the goal for me, right? And we're 6 months away from the Contender Series, and that this kind of fight right here, the UFC might go, hey, you know what I mean? He only has 4 fights. I might have to fight again. After this one, I don't think I'll have to. I think they're going to take me. I think I'm really going to lock in my spot either in the UFC or the Contender Series with this fight. You know what I mean? Being 4-0, just took out a 20-fight pro veteran with a winning record who's fought legit competition. You know what I mean? Yeah, he loses to them, but he's fought legit competition. And if I go out there and beat him more impressively than they did, you know what I mean? So what does that say about me, right? So, you know what I mean? I'm all about that. And I like answering questions. I like having that. Like I said, it's like that. It's like my teammate Calvin Cater's kind of approach. It's that I like having like a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm like, well, you don't think I can do this? Watch this. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep doing that throughout my career. I feel like I'll always kind of be like, oh, he's not this, he's not that. Someone will always have something stupid to say, but at the end of the day, you can't shake my confidence. Then that's why I go out there and I perform.
Eventually, you're going to get to that point where they're not going to have questions about you anymore. How are you going to be able to get up for those types of things if there's no more questions?
I think I'm a very, I remember when I was wrestling in high school, and my coach used to always say this about me, that I'm inherently motivated. Like, I don't, for some reason, I don't have to motivate myself. To me, I love I'm going to make a life out of myself for fighting. I'm going to make a lot of money, but it's about the glory. It's about being the best. Like, that's what gets me up. Like, I am the best. Like, I really feel like right now, especially at 125, this kid, he's a 25er, you know what I mean? But he's got some, you know what I mean? We're fighting a 35, so we're about similar in size because I can make 125 too. And I'm one of the best in the world. I feel like that. I really do. And I think as far as a prospect, I'm one of the best prospects in the country, if not the world. And I think about the level, like a guy like Rob Font, Calvin Cater, who are both top 10 in the world, in the 2 of the deepest divisions in the UFC. And those are the type of guys that I spar with on a daily basis. I'm sparring with guys like Tateki Matsuda, who's been in the UFC twice, fought in the UFC twice, fights in Japan, is just an absolute killer. And those are the rounds I get. Like, I don't go, those are the type of rounds I'm going with. So I'm going with that type of experience all the time. It's honestly weird for me to fight a guy who's not experienced. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to excel in this fight because I'm so used to that kind of experience that I think, honestly, it's going to feel normal to me. And I honestly think I'm going to look even better.
You talk about the sparring that you get at Lausanne MMA, and we've talked about the Saturday sparring and how crazy that gets over there. I talked to Greg Rebello yesterday, and I was asking him about different guys coming up. Obviously, your name came up. Greg has nothing but great things to say about you. How much has he helped you with the striking and just his overall presence at that gym?
He's awesome. He does a lot. Like, I love talking to Greg because he's a guy where he puts a lot of confidence into me. Like, he's so I have my team at Regiment Training Center. Brian Raposo, who's my striking coach. Tom McClain is my grappling coach. But I kind of have my extended family at Lausanne's where I work with Joe Lozen, I work with Rob, Calvin, Tyson, and also Greg. And Greg, he has the way just his personality and his presence. Like, I remember before the Burhans fight, I think we were talking about Jimmy Rivera. And he looked at me and he was like, "You could beat Jimmy Rivera." I was like, "I really believe that." He's like, he just has that kind of faith in me. You know what I mean? And I believe him. You know what I mean? And that's what I love, having him around. And I love talking to him. He's hilarious as shit too. So he's always roasting me and like about my hair or something stupid. But you know what I mean? So it's like I love having him around, and he brings that experience to me. He's fought. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. You know what I mean? He had those 2 fights in the Contender, but he has so much knowledge about the game. And so I love having him around, man. He's a morale booster for sure, man. Especially in the gym.
It's kind of crazy talking to somebody like you because I'm like 16 years older than you, which is just crazy. And I think back to like where I was at 21 years old. I mean, these are your like prime partying years, and you know, the times where you go out with friends and you hit the bars and might cause a little bit of trouble. But you know, you've talked about, you made a lot of sacrifices for the sport and for the glory for your goal to become a world champion. And you know, these are sacrifices not a lot of 21-year-olds would make. And I know you're just getting started, and I'm not sure if you ever question if you're missing out on anything or anything like that, but do you feel more and more as these wins are coming that the lifestyle choices that you've made, they're paying off for you?
For sure. And no knock on anyone, right? But like, just growing up, and I'm 21, right? So I see kids I went to high school with, and they used to think partying and all that was the thing to do, right? But then you look at them now, and it's like, you know what I mean? They're making the wrong choices, you know what I mean? And I definitely, there's a time and place for everything, you know what I mean? But like this New Year's, like I have a fight coming up. You know what I mean? Everyone's trying, like I was at a family party, like, oh, yeah, here's a drink, here's a shot, whatever. No. Like but those are things that give me like a mental edge. Like I'm doing the right things, and that's what is going to get you. It's not, at the end of the day, I do feel like you can have a little bit of fun. Like you can eat a little bad here and there, but it's like, it comes down to, are you making the right decisions? Is it affecting your training? Are you fully focused in training? Are you getting the best out of your training sessions? Is your body feeling the best? And that's what it's about to me. You know what I mean? I do the right things to be successful, and it's more so mentally. You know what I mean? I'm a type of kid, man. I'm like OCD about training. Like I get real obsessed about getting better, and if I have a bad day, I get really down on myself, and I'm so motivated for the next day to get better and have a better day. Like, so you know what I mean? That'll mentally screw me. If I drink on New Year's, and I'm sure a lot of people were surprised when I asked you, "Hey, you drink?" My coach asked me, I was like, "No, I don't know." Because I don't want fight night. I'm about to walk out, and I'm like, did I do everything I could to be the best? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be in the UFC, and I'm going to be a world champion. So one day when I'm fighting Benavidez or Figueiredo or Cejudo at 30, whatever, I got to be at that level. I got to do those things that those guys are doing. You know what I mean? That's to be the best. I'm not here to be a local champ. I'm here to be a world champion. I'm here to present a life for myself. There's plenty of partying to do, man, especially in this sport when you make it to the top and you become the best in the world. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty. That stuff will never leave. There's a small window to be the best in the world, and I have my whole life to drink beers, man. So.
Is it hard to find opponents for you around here at this point? Because I mean, it's a small circle, and you haven't been around fighting for too long compared to a lot of these other guys. But you know, you've seen a lot of these guys. You fought a bunch of them at this point. You know, do you feel like most of the time for these Cage Titans fights that Mike's going to have to go outside of the area to find you opponents? Are you having a hard time finding local guys to fight, or are you just not really interested in fighting local guys at this point because of where you want to get to?
It's a little bit of both. I think, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Especially, I told my coach, I was like, because, you know, we know this whole, You know what I mean? Benavidez and Figueiredo fighting for the flyweight belt, and you know what I mean. And I'm sure the Contender Series they're gonna be some flyweight, so I kind of want to put my name in that kind of hat too, so I can be available in both. So I told my coach, hey, we're going back down to 25. Yo, give me, you know what I mean? All due respect to all these guys around here, like, you know what I mean? Josh Ricci, Johnny Lopez, all these guys. I'll fight any single one of them. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Even at 35, guys like Jay Perrin, like, I'll fight anybody around here. I always have to say anybody can get it. You know what I mean? Like, but I have a manager for a reason, and I think those guys are on their own path. I'm on my own path. By the end of the day, when their name hits, you know what I mean? When I get their name, I'm not going to say no. I've never said no to a fight. You know what I mean? I let my coaches and my manager obviously have that guidance with me because I'm a little young and I could be a little impulsive. You know what I mean? But I think that fighting a guy like this guy's number 2 in Florida. You know what I mean? He's fought legit competition. I think this guy, you know what I mean? He's going to do more for my career than any of these guys in New England anyway. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? But like I said, anybody can get it.
It all starts January 25th to where you want to be as far as 2020 goes. Cage Titans 47. So, I mean, I'm not going to ask you for a prediction per se. I know you plan to win, but, you know, what else do you hope to accomplish in that cage to maybe answer any lingering questions that may surround you and where you're heading?
I just think that this guy, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself to, like, finish or anything. I think I am going to finish him, especially late in the fight. But this is a fight I kind of like a 12-year-old me would be pretty happy about. Like, this is the test. This is it. This is my moment. This is my fight to go out there and prove. I'm going to prove to everybody that I belong in the UFC. You know what I mean? These guys anybody at 125 in the UFC, like, even I'm at that level, dude. Like Figueiredo, I mean, he's out for the belt, but I remember a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Jared Brooks, in my opinion, beat him. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you something right now, I think I'm better than Jared Brooks. So at the end of the day, I'm at that level. I already know I'm at that level. So getting the experience, getting the right fights, and this fight, a big finish or even a dominant performance over a guy like this is going to stamp it, man. Nobody's going to want to fight me after this. You guys think it's tough to get fights now? Watch after this fight. You know what I mean? I come up the level every single time. I rise to the occasion. That's the type of, like, those are the elite prospects, right? I'm not going to get fazed by a guy with 19 pro fights. You know what I mean? I've been doing this shit since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? You can have 19 pro fights, but I got hundreds of wrestling matches, hundreds of jiu-jitsu matches, kickboxing fights, MMA fights. And I have this confidence in myself that I know what my destiny is, and you can't shake that shit. You know what I mean? And you can't fake it. It's not false confidence. So when I get in there, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take care of business January 25th. So
what's your gut telling you? You think get through this fight right on the Contender Series, or do you think you'll have to fight? Do you need to fight one more time just to sort of, bridge the gap here?
I don't think so. I think if I would have fought Castillo's, I think so. Because, I was going to murder that kid, I think. You know what I mean? That kid was his style. He just, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a real easy fight for me. Go out there, take care of business. But after this one, you know what I mean? This kid's tough. He's experienced. He's a good veteran. Go out there, keep my head on a swivel, do my thing, fight. And I don't think so, man. I don't think I'll need another one. I think the UFC will be like, this kid's young. He's 4-0. But man, he just took out a guy, you know what I mean, who is a 20-fight pro veteran with a winning record. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of guys at my age and my experience that are doing that, right? So, and especially at 25, you know what I mean? If they're trying to rebuild this division, right? You know what I mean? They're Benavidez, Figueiredo. They're signing guys again. I think I'm a guy. Eventually, I think I'm gonna have to move up to bantamweight because it is a tough cut for me. But right now, you know what I mean? I'm young. I'm the guy the UFC's been wanting for the flyweight division forever. You know what I mean? When Dana White sees me, he's gonna see this is the guy I've been waiting for 125. You know what I mean? So I think that's where my head's at. You know what I mean? I'm a UFC 2020 has been the goal, and I've said it since I was an amateur. And I think the ball is rolling in the right direction, man. I'm close. I'm real close. I can feel it. And I just nothing but good things ahead of me for 2020.
If we have this conversation same time next year, what do you think we're going to be talking about? We're discussing your next fight in the UFC?
Top 10 in the UFC at 125.
Oh, I like it, man. I like it. Are you a guy that pays attention to, you know, I'm sure you're on the pulse of the UFC in the flyweight division there, and probably 35 as well. But are you paying attention to what's going on around the country as well? I mean, there's guys like Brandon Royval who's done very well at 25. He had the fastest submission in LFA history in his last fight. He's one of those guys that even some of the guys in the UFC are like, got to give this guy an opportunity. Are you paying attention to those two?
I'll fight that kid on the Contender Series. You know what I mean? I texted Tyson after I saw that fight. And I was talking to him about it, and I was talking to my coaches about it. I'll fight that kid on the Contender Series, no problem. I like that kid. Man. He's good. But you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of, like, that's a kid, he belongs in the UFC too. He's a guy at 25. He's exciting. But, man, I'll fight that kid too. You know what I mean? Like, all these guys, dude. Like, I saw what Casey Kenny did to him. You know what I mean? I think, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Casey Kenny's good at what he does. I'm good at what I do. And You know what I mean? Line them up, dude. I'm gonna fight all of them, dude. I'm gonna prove I'm one of the best in the world, and I'm real close, dude. So I'm the guy to keep an eye on. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that's gonna be in the UFC. I'm the next guy of the New England cartel. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be running shit at 25. Rob's gonna do his thing at 35. Calvin's gonna do his thing at 45. So you know what I mean? The cartel's taking over.
Dude, I love that fight for Cater against Jeremy Stevens. That's my matchmaking pick after the Zabit fight. I'm like, match him up with Jeremy Stevens. That's the fight he needs. And he deserves that fight. I mean, going over to Russia, all the stuff that happened in Boston, not getting that card in the co-main event in the Garden. I think that's a perfect fight. I think it's excellent.
But, I mean, it's supposed to be 5 rounds. You know, Calvin would never admit this, obviously. I like his attitude. Like, it wasn't 3 rounds. I should have got it done in 3 rounds. Because that's kind of his mentality. I kind of relate a lot to it. And, like, that's a similar mentality I would have. You can't make excuses. But damn, if that shit was 5 rounds, man, Zabit was going to be in trouble, man. He's a beast. Like Calvin, man, he is a beast, dude. And Rob's huge win against Ricky Simone. That was one of my favorite. I've watched that fight probably 25 times. You know what I mean? Like that was a great fight. Big things are coming for New England, man. And I think I'm the next breakout star for New England. You know what I mean? I'm the cartel phenom, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do my thing. And we're real close. So it's big things 2020.
What's with the beef with Matsuda and Moy? Like, why does Moy not like Matsuda that much? Can you tell me from your perspective? I'm talking to Matsuda tomorrow. I'll learn more from him. But what's the beef there? I
think that shit is so phony. You know what I mean? Tateki's such a nice guy, dude. Like, I don't bully. Like, really, dude? This is I don't know. Maybe I have a different opinion because I came up in the sport young. Man, I was sparring with heavyweights when I was like 14. Obviously, you know what I mean? I used to get bloody noses. Like, I didn't give a shit, dude. Like, this is the fight game. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna complain because somebody's going hard. And like I saw what he said about it, Rec Tech, and how he's a bully, he's this. Bro, you just bullied Raymond Yanez when you were like 11-3, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about a bully, dude? Like, he's not a bully. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, like, when it comes to the sport. And like when I started hearing talk about that, like that's just a fake beef in my opinion. I think the beef is so made up because I think he's trying to promote it's his last fight. He's trying to promote it. I kind of feel a certain type of way. Obviously, Techie's my teammate, and like when I saw that, I don't have any relation to Ken Moy. I've never really talked to Ken Moy. I have nothing against Ken Moy. I just thought that shit was so phony. Like I didn't think it made any sense. Like he's a bully. He's this. Then he posted a video of them sparring of him. He's like, you couldn't bully me then. You bully me. You're putting who's the bully? You're putting a video of you guys sparring on Instagram. Like what happened to what stays in the gym? What goes on in the gym stays in the gym. You know what I mean? Like you guys, like it's just. I thought it was so stupid, but. I think Tateki's gonna go on there. He's gonna take care of business. I think he's a more seasoned technical fighter than Ken Moy. So I think he'll go in there and take care of business. He's real motivated for this fight. We've been sparring every Saturday at Lausanne's. You know what I mean? Because we're perfect for each other. We're the same size. He's got a world class experience. He's solid everywhere. He's well rounded. So that's what I make of it. I'm happy you asked me about that because I was just talking to my coach about that yesterday. I was like, I thought that was so phony. But hey. Maybe he's got to motivate himself. I don't know. You know what I mean? I thought it was real stupid, though, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to find that chip, and I guess he's found it.
Yeah, like, no, for sure, but it was just, I felt like I agree with that because I like to find, like, little chips, but I feel like he was just reaching, kind of reaching for something that's just not really there. Like, Tateki that hasn't even said anything, and, like, calling Tateki a bully, and, like, I just don't get it. Like, I've gone with Tateki. And yeah, I guess when we spar at Lausanne, he goes hard, but that's what we're all there for, dude. I'm trying to get better. I'm not here to play patty cake. We're here to like go out there, get each other better. He's never hurt anybody at Lausanne. I've never really seen it, but you know what I mean, do what you got to do, say what you got to say, get yourself motivated for the fight. You know what I mean? Just my personal opinion. I thought it was pretty stupid.
Well, I think a lot of people have their eyes on this card and what's going to happen with you here in 2020. Mitch Raposo begins the journey to the Contender Series, hopefully to the UFC, hopefully to the top 10 by this time next year. It all begins January 25th, Cage Titans 47 at the home, Plymouth Memorial Hall. Mitch, always appreciate the time, man. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours, sir.
Instagram, I think Instagram's Mitch Raposo _. Twitter's mraposo _ I gotta make that the same. But you know what I mean? Huge shout out to my team, Regiment Training Center, Infinite Fitness, where I do my strength conditioning, Top Gate Management, Lausanne's MMA. It's a big card, you know. January 25th, Plymouth Memorial Hall. There's a lot of us on the card screaming UFC and all this. I think it's just the card to find out who's really the next guy. So you know what I mean? I think it's kind of I've put in my list a little self, my kind of like a little mental competition. Like, you know what I mean? We got like 6 prospects on this card. Let's see who's ready for the UFC. You know what I mean? Let's see who shines the brightest. You know what I mean? Like Saturday night. So I'm excited.
Excellent, man. Thank you, Mitch. All the best to you on January 25th. And I'm proud of myself for not calling you Randy Costa this time.